ordnance and the like through this tunnel system to begin to resupply. Also, Hamas is going to steal much of the humanitarian aid that comes across. There's going to be 300 trucks a day that come up. The question is, will it be allowed, the humanitarian aid, to come north here into Gaza City? We don't know how that will play out in the deal. The other issue here is we go back and looking at the deal. Remember, Hamas releases 50 hostages. Israel releases 150 Palestinians, 4-day ceasefire. Israel knows at the end of those 4 days, they're going to face enormous pressure from Hamas sympathizers and Hamas friends in the media not to restart the fighting. How, after 4 days, do you restart the fighting? Well, the Israelis say they will extend the ceasefire for 1 day for every 10 additional hostages released. That does give the Israelis a way to say, look, you haven't released any 10 more hostages, the fighting must begin and now again. For the families, of course, of the 50 coming home, this is unquestionably good news. But the deal will likely split families, meaning there's wives and children who are going to be coming home to Israel, and their fathers will still be captive in Gaza. Of course, there's no easy decisions in war. Think about that. There's going to be fathers who are inside Gaza held. 190 hostages are still in Gaza. And during this time, we know Hamas will spend a lot of time trying to move them. And obviously, the other thing that has been a point of much contention, the Israelis are going to keep their ground positions here, but the Israelis give up an enormous amount of their ability to overfly Gaza. There was a lot of discussion about how many Israeli drone flights can take place over Gaza to monitor Hamas. We're going to bring in Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano here, 25 years in the U.S. Army. It's good to see you, sir. Thank you very much. Let's just talk about this tactical reality. How big of a setback for the IDF, for the Israeli Defense Forces, is it to have to pause when they have this tactical momentum?
Well, here's what I will say. This was a predictable point that the Israelis knew they were likely going to be at some point. The taking of hostages was a deliberate strategy. So, and we know this because of the way it was structured. It wasn't just, oh, gee, let's take some hostages. Part of the plan was to go in and grab hostages because they knew, and the Israelis know, because we've been through this drill before, that at some point, one of the off-ramps, if one or both sides chose to take that, was to wind down through the exchange of hostages. So the Israelis knew they were going to be in this situation at some point, so certainly in their tactical planning, they had to be thinking and debating this. Here's the point, though. You said there's still 190 hostages left in. That's a limited pool. Once Hamas drains all that away, that leverage is gone. So the question really is this is just part one of this. How do the two sides decide to play it after the 4 days are over?
What do you make of the international pressure and the timing here, right? That, in a way, it seems as though Israel has played their cards as long as they possibly can until they've been forced to make a deal, both the internal pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu and the pressure from the U.S. administration.
Well, I think the Israelis knew they were going to be at this point sometime. Remember, they did this in 2014 where they exchanged hostages to get the release of an Israeli service member.
Yeah, it was 1,000 for one with Gilad Shalit, but that wasn't during a time of conflict.
Right. So they knew this was going to happen. So actually, what we don't talk about a lot is the amazing progress that the Israelis made in terms of getting into Gaza and setting up in very strategically defensible positions that puts them actually in a very strong place. So this was, I think, a balance that they knew they were going to face. I think what's remarkable, if you want to look at it the other way, is the access they've gained, the strong positions they're in, and that a second front hasn't broken out. And I think in part because the second front hasn't developed, Hamas is there kind of out on the limb alone, and they know their only path to survival is through wind down.
All right, so the second front you're talking about is the northern front with Lebanon. Right. There's been some little clashes with Hezbollah. Let's talk about how the position we're at right now as it relates to U.S. troops. We've got thousands of American troops, certainly a couple of thousand who have been under fire almost every day now in Syria and Iraq from these Iranian militias. Does this deal, you think, even if it's not written in the agreement that when you had the United States, Hamas, the Israelis all in Qatar, that there wasn't perhaps some other agreements made with Iran?
Well, we certainly don't see any evidence of that on the ground because the attacks against U.S. forces continue and we go through this tit for tat. So I'm actually concerned about it. We forget that at root of this is Iran. None of this would happen about Iran. Hamas wouldn't have the offensive capability. They wouldn't have the green light for the attack. The U.S. response was this kind of tit for tat, but also not really giving up on the Iranian engagement and really giving them kind of a $10 billion payoff here. And I'm afraid the lesson the administration is going to walk away with is we've managed this conflict, right? The Iranians didn't open in a second front, even though Hezbollah in the fourth really didn't want to open in a second front. I think the Iranians saw there wasn't a huge advantage to doing that. They've gotten away with this tit for tat. They got their $10 billion. So my great fear is the Biden administration is going to walk out of this if it just stays where it is now, low level of violence, right? There's not a second front. The war against Hamas winds down. The Biden team's going to walk away saying we managed this conflict, and I think that's exactly the wrong message to away because what they've done is they've empowered Iran. They've run into a lot of trouble. They made 2 steps forward, and then we chalk that off as a victory? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, and also, you think about it from Hamas's perspective, they're still in power. They still have their hostages. Iran can still use those hostages as pawns. Iran has diminished the United States throughout the Middle East. It's huge. Jim, thank you very much. It's good to see you, sir. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.